Because
as a teaser.
I still have the feeling that something is going to go wrong and we're not going to release this. so don't get the fans too excited. Hello guys, welcome to the very first episode of this new podcast. The name is yet to be decided. We have discussed a few different ones. So far our best one is the Badminton Experience, but we are still in very early stages of this podcast, so it can still be switched. So if you have any good suggestions, please leave them in the comment section, and we'll decide whether we'll stick with the Badminton Experience or decide that it's better with another one. Isn't that right, Hans?
That is correct, and I'm happy to be here and be part of this podcast. I'm Kristian Vittinghus. In case any one of you don't know, I'm 35 years old. I play badminton. I'm pretty sure you know that. Hopefully you do. Train together with Antonsen in the Danish national team. So yeah, that's just a quick introduction of me. And we also have a third team member right on this podcast, but unfortunately he could not be here today. But he's also a guy that you're not supposed to see a lot because he's the guy behind the camera. And he's not here because
that's right. The third piece of the puzzle, before I introduce myself, also is Oliver. He is my friend and my first employee. He is usually the guy who is behind the camera and records everything and edits all my videos. He's going to record and edit this vlog. Oh no, not this vlog, this podcast, and also my vlogs. But he's not here today. A good friend of ours got tested positive for COVID-19. So Oliver is in isolation, so we'll handle it all by ourselves today. Hopefully it will work out, and you make sure that the audio is on, because
I did actually press record today.
Okay.
It's no secret that this is actually the second time we recorded. I know Anna said that this is the first episode, but we actually did record one a few weeks ago. I just forgot to press record on the microphones, but today it is recording. So hopefully it will work out, and please excuse us if there's any mistakes. Then we will just blame Oliver for not being here.
There will be plenty of mistakes, I'm sure. I pray that we'll get this one released. Okay, so I'll introduce myself also. My name is Antonsen. I'm 24 years old, a Danish men's single badminton player. And besides being a badminton player, training a lot, traveling all around the world to play badminton, I also have this YouTube channel where I do some vlogs, some behind the scenes stuff, and this is a new thing to the channel, this podcast, and I'm really happy that Kristian wanted to be a part of the team, and so I guess I just explain why
why we do it
really quickly. So I always wanted a sit-down format to my channel, and I think a podcast is a phenomenal setup. I enjoy listening and watching podcasts myself, so I thought, why not? And I don't really see any, badminton podcasts out there. I don't really know where to get my news and stuff like that, so why not be the first? If we are the first, are we the first?
I'm not sure about video podcasts. Of course, there's a few audio only. Of course, I have my own, but there's not.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I have my own audio podcast called A Year Until Vittinghus, but it's just also a small project. I don't think there's a lot available on YouTube. So
no.
Maybe there is some small niche ones, but we're gonna go really big with this one in time.
Definitely.
With time.
Sorry that I forgot about A Year Until Vittinghus. If you haven't heard that one, go to where?
go to any podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere. Just search for A Year Until Vittinghus or just Vittinghus, and then it'll pop up.
Enough of that. So did I explain why? We are both, badminton geeks, if you can say that.
Definitely.
We love the sport, both of us, and I think that we agree that it doesn't get the attention that it deserves. I believe it's a phenomenal game, but badminton is like this. A good friend of mine calls it a sleeping giant. I mean, huge potential, but it doesn't really evolve. But still, it is a very, very big sport, very popular sport, especially in Asia, and in some countries in Europe as well.
It's a little bit unlucky for me that I'm 35 now, and then if we awaken the giant, then it will just grow and grow and
It's
grow
too late for you.
after I retire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually now maybe having second doubts if I want to be part of
part
of this.
Sorry about that. I mean, you are helping the future generations.
True.
So I guess that's why we love badminton. We love to discuss relevant topics and just the sport in general. And there's so much to talk about, and there's so many improvements to be made. I believe in the sport. So that's why. Was that good enough?
Yeah, I think so. So we want to share our perspective on things. Whenever there's news to talk about, interesting things going on.
Definitely.
So hope you guys will stay tuned to this program, not just now, but also for the future, because we promise that we're going to keep going and going until this is the best podcast on YouTube, not just about badminton, but even better than Joe Rogan.
Whoa, nice.
Why not aim for the stars, right?
Why not?
Yeah.
With that being said, Hans, let's get into the first topic, the most relevant topic at the moment. I think it's a perfect one to start off with, and then I'll hand it over to you, sir.
Yeah, obviously it's not the most busy period in badminton, the world of badminton right now, but one big thing that's been going on lately was obviously the vote for changing the scoring system. There was just the AGM in BWF, and AGM is short for Annual General Meeting. Was it 2 weeks ago now, where BWF or all the member associations had to vote whether or not we should change our scoring system. And the proposal was to go from best of 3 games to 21, change it to best of 5 games to 11, setting to 15, so you needed to win by 2 points if it was 10-all in each game. So that was basically the change. So go from 3 games to 5 games and go from 21 points to 11 points. And BWF also wanted that change to go through already back in 2018, with that small difference that back then they didn't actually suggest the setting. They said that at 10-all it was just going to be 1 point that decided the games. So that was the only change this time. That now you had to win by a margin of 2, but maximum up to 15.
So it is the second time that they have, voted for this scoring system.
Yeah.
And the second time that it did not go through.
Yeah, they voted against it. And last time, back in 18, I think it was like 54% voted for it. But to make a change of this size, whether you change the laws of badminton, you need a 2/3 majority to get it changed. So they need 66.67% to get it changed. And it was 54% last time, but this time they actually got 66.31% to vote for it.
Crazy.
It is actually crazy. They needed just one more vote to get it voted through. And I actually have a little bit of inside information that I know there was one president from one of the member associations that said afterwards that he actually forgot about signing in and voting, and he was for the change. Also, a couple of member associations said that they were experiencing some technical difficulties because the AGM was all done online or virtual because of the corona pandemic. So they had to sign in on the computer and do the voting process there.
You don't know which country it was that missed out on voting?
I don't know. It's not that I don't want to tell you guys, but I actually don't know. I think they are probably trying to keep that secret to not diss anyone for being unprofessional or anything. But
you have a document, right? I mean, that tells how every country voted.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's quite important for also the listeners and the viewers to understand like how the voting process also works. Because a lot of players as well and fans, they believe this is BWF that's just deciding, but basically it's the member association. So it's Badminton Denmark, Badminton Indonesia, it's all the associations that are members of BWF who vote. The guys that are working for BWF, they don't actually have a say in the matter. They cannot vote. So Paul Erik Høyer, who's the president, he cannot vote. But each country, they have between 1 to 5 votes. And that's depending on how big a role you play in the world of badminton. So the more you do for badminton, if you participate in all the events, if you host events, or if you have a lot of members, then you get more votes. So some countries has 1 vote, some has 2, some have 3, 4 and 5. And what's quite interesting, I think, is to look at especially the big countries who voted for and who voted against. Some of the big ones that were for the change was Denmark and Indonesia. Indonesia was the country that actually wanted us to vote again. But also Korea, Taiwan, France, Germany, India, Netherlands, Russia. That's the biggest countries that actually wanted the change.
Voted for, okay.
They voted for it. And then a lot of the smaller countries actually voted for. But those countries I just mentioned, they had 5 votes, so those were pretty important. The big ones with 5 votes that voted against it was China, Hong Kong, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, Canada, Australia, USA, Scotland, England as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's quite divided actually, but I think what really made a difference was in the the lower ranked countries with the lower number of votes. There were a few more than expected there who voted against it. Yeah. But again, it was only 1 vote in the end who that made the difference, which is pretty crazy when you think of it. And also, given how it's the first time ever they do this virtual AGM, it's understandable that there were some technical difficulties, even though I was assured that it was a very professional setup and it's something that's not only used by BWF, it's used by a lot of member associations for voting processes.
It's insane that, I mean, it comes down to, technical issues.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's a pretty huge change in the sport, right? And a guy's internet. Okay, I don't know. Should we go through some of the selling points?
If I can just have one more point about the voting process. We also have countries that actually just did not vote because they maybe didn't have an opinion on it. It's mostly small countries, but I have a few like Congo, Mauritius, Slovenia. I think that's a little bit surprising. Okay. They did attend the meeting, but just decided, not to vote on this matter. Yeah.
So this is how the podcast goes, guys. I just start Hans Kristian, and then he'll just talk for the whole episode. I mean, he is the brain here in the duo.
For sure, the number nerd. I like numbers and like statistics.
You also had a Facebook site called Statsman, right?
Yeah, it was a Twitter profile. Yeah, I actually also opened it at Facebook. That's true. Yeah, Statsman. I think there's a lack of statistics available in badminton. But
so you can already tell why I came to Hans Kristian with this idea. He is the perfect guy for the job. So I'm very, very happy with it and happy that you agreed to do this, Hans Kristian. But let's go through some of the selling points of the proposed scoring system. 5 times 11 instead of 3 sets to 21. First one here, more peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just read number 2 because I mean they're kind of the same. Get to peaks faster. I mean,
Yeah.
So one of the issues right now with the current scoring system is that it's not really that exciting for the viewer at 5-5 in the first game. But if we played 5 sets to 11, 5-5 is already a crucial points coming up at that time already. So
it's like 16 all in the current run, right? So
exactly, yeah. And I mean, I totally get that point. I think it's right. I mean, as a hardcore badminton fan, I'm already excited. I mean, at 2-2 in the first game, because I know that there is so much going on mentally at that point. It's difficult to see the end. I mean, if you have played some tough rallies in a men's single or a ladies double, already at that point, I mean, there's a lot of mental games going on, and you are getting tested physically already at that time. So,
but what you're saying is that you really need to be someone who understands the game and has knowledge about the game to understand the interesting aspect.
Yeah,
as early in the games as that.
Definitely. But I mean, I get the point, and I can also, I mean, see why the viewer might not be that excited at 5-5 in the first game. So I definitely get the point. I mean, and that is, I mean, the whole idea behind this scoring system is to make it more interesting for the people watching at home or in the audience. So let's go on to the next one here. Extend length of the peaks.
And that's to me actually the first of they have like 6 main points that they want to, or they expect that it would help on. And this is the first one that doesn't really make sense to me actually, that they think this system would extend the length of the peaks because they cap it at 15. So if you go into setting at 10 all, you can maximum play to 15. And I think the peaks are at the end of the games, right? In the current system.
But I think what they mean is that it's already peaking. I mean, from the beginning of the sets, I mean, it's very intense and very exciting at that time already. Don't you think that?
But do you think they think it's a peak already at love all or 2 all? Because if they think it's a peak from 6 all, you should also think it's a peak in the current system from 16 all.
Yeah.
But then the possible length of the peak in the current system is all the way up to 30. In the new one, it's only up to 15. Then it stops.
But I mean, how often do you go to 30?
Not very often. 30. I'm not saying that you get much longer peaks in the current one. I'm just saying I don't really see this difference. I don't see that the peaks are longer. I see that there are more peaks and you get to them faster because the games end quicker and then you start the next one. But I don't see that you get actually that each peak is going to be longer than in the current system. I just see that you get more, but not longer ones.
And you reach them faster. I mean, when it's only 2-11. Yeah. Next one here, easy to understand.
Yeah, and that's to me, I'm sorry to say, that's just bullshit.
Easy to understand.
Because how is it easier to understand 5 games to 11 than 3 games to 21?
Yeah.
The setting rules, if it's 20 all or 10 all, is completely the same. That you have to win by 2, and then there's a maximum cap at some point. So I honestly just don't understand how is it easier. It's exactly the same. They just change around the numbers.
Yeah, I agree. I don't get that one too. Yeah. Moments of increased focus. Yeah, I think that if this scoring system was voted through, I think you will see players come out really focused from love all. The intensity of the rallies from love all would be higher. The players would be more explosive, more aware of everything. So Yeah,
I think that's also what we experienced, right? When we tried it actually in the Danish league for a full season some years ago. I also tried it in the Belgian International in 2014, and that was definitely my experience. That you were so on from the start, and it was so intense. And that's also why I've never really been so worried about some of the naysayers saying that it would not be so physically hard. Well, I think it was, maybe in the beginning it would be less physical because the matches will be shorter. But with time, I think we would start adapting, and matches will be longer again. But because of the added intensity, then 45 minutes will feel as hard, if not harder, than 1 hour of the old system. In my opinion,
I definitely agree. And I mean, the fact that people will come out with a more explosive style of play, that's going to, that's going to hurt in the legs and in the body. And I think people will, get surprised that it's actually still very, very tough to play 5 sets to 11. With this, increased intensity of the rallies from the beginning. But as you also mentioned, I think people will adapt, and then maybe one year in start to play a little bit more, building up the match like we see now, because players don't want to burn out.
Yeah, and I think like the main reason why to think that way is that's exactly what we saw happening when we changed from the old scoring system with where you had to hold a serve to score points. When we moved to the rally system now, where you score points on each point or after each rally, it was exactly that. The one thing that happened when we did that was that it was more explosive in the beginning. Matches were shorter, people were more attacking, but then over time we started becoming more patient and, as you say, building up the rallies. And I don't see that this change is gonna bring anything different, because it's basically the same kind of change we're doing, that you're going from a longer game to a shorter one. So
in the beginning, right? I mean, the first half a year or the first year maybe, until people get to know the system and get to know that it's also very, very draining,
especially at world-class level, because what world-class players do so well in my mind is that they adapt all the time. And that's what we're.
Do you think we would see more surprises?
Well, I actually saw the BWF they had some analysis done from some company about it, and they said that there was only going to be a variance in terms of surprises of 3% compared to the current system. So there was like a 3% bigger chance that a lower ranked player would beat the better one. So that would also be my feeling, actually, that in the beginning I think we would see more surprises, but over time it would even out, and the best players are still the best players.
Okay, and the last point here: reduce the length of the matches. I would say fine idea, but I think reducing the length of the matches, that is where one guy is just way better than the other guy, is a good thing.
Yeah. When you steamroll an opponent,
get it done, move on to the next match. I mean, it's not exciting for anyone, not for the players and not for the viewer. So
I agree on that point. But I have like 2 issues with that selling point, that you want to reduce the length of the matches, and the one is that the best matches I would actually like to extend it instead of reduce, because the best matches are just amazing, and it doesn't matter if they last for 1 hour or 2 hours, in my opinion. But that's not so important. I think what is important is that this change was going to be a change in the laws of badminton. So it was going to change for not just professional players as us, and obviously we are mostly concerned about that because it's our life, it's our job as well. But it was also going to be changed for all the recreational players, all the amateur players. And I think for all the millions of badminton players that just play badminton to get a good workout or have some fun, I don't really see it as a good idea to shorten the matches. They are not playing matches that are 90 minutes long. If you go to any amateur tournament, it's very short matches already in some aspects. So that's where I disagree a little bit. And one counterpoint I have about it is that I understand that it will reduce the matches now, but I actually think that over time you will see more time wasting with the new system. And I think that because the points are going to be more intense from the start, more important from the start. And that's where you see the most time wasting now. That's when you get to the closing points of the game.
So the breaks in between the rallies will be longer?
Exactly. And that's one thing that BWF wants us to get away from. But I think in that system, you will get more of that unless the umpires do something. Like they are going to be more strict. But obviously, all systems will have disadvantages and advantages. But I think it's just quite important to say that it cannot just stand alone, this change. You would need to also change other things to have those effects that they are looking for.
Yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, you should, because you're one of the guys that really waste a lot of time.
Waste a lot of time on the court. I mean, the umpires are, giving me a really hard time sometimes, telling me to hurry up all the time. And I mean, I have been watching a lot of Lin Dan in the past, and he is also a guy that knows how to, spend a lot of time in between the rallies.
He takes advantage of every single second he has on court.
He's actually one of the only players that I have faced where I was like, come on. I mean,
this is slow.
This is very, very slow. But I don't know. I mean, I prefer quality over quantity. Yeah. So I prefer intense rallies with a really high level than just, running up, starting a new rally, not really being prepared, and then you make a mistake. I mean, that's also not that enjoyable to watch for the viewer. So I don't know about that, but I mean, mainly the main reason is just because I'm in really bad shape and I need the break in between the rallies. So, so should we, round it off with saying our opinions on?
Yeah, we can. Well, I'm frankly quite surprised to see that it didn't go through. I did have some aversions against it, but for me it was mostly about the recreational level, amateur level. For the pros, I thought it was a fine idea. I could see the points in terms of getting more peaks and get to the peaks faster, definitely. What I just was never really convinced about was that these effects would actually mean something in terms of the popularity of the sport and the ability to generate more money. So I was never convinced about that, but apart from that, I didn't really disapprove of the system. I was just more concerned for the ramifications it would have on the sport on the lower level.
I was, if I could, I would have voted for the change. I get, most of the selling points. I think it would be more enjoyable experience to watch the new scoring system, more thrilling and more exciting, just in general. But with that being said, it wouldn't change the sport like overnight just because we got a new scoring system. But I believe that it would have been a step in the right direction, and I think it's a shame that it didn't got changed. But I mean, it is what it is. It's the second time now that it's not gone through. So, but as mentioned, I get all the selling points, and I think it's a shame.
Yeah, well, I think
what can we do about it?
It's gonna be quite a while before we see another vote for it. That's my feeling at least. But
so the first one was in 2018, and now again in 2021.
Yeah, and in 2018 it was mostly voted down because people thought it was bad timing with the Olympic qualifying period already going on. Yeah. So the most logical point of time where you would vote is right after an Olympic game. So the next chance would be after the Olympics in Paris.
It annoys me. I mean that thing that 2/3 is required.
Yeah.
I mean,
there is a majority.
There is a majority for the new
yeah,
system,
yeah.
but it's not going through because one single vote.
Yeah, without being an expert in democracy, I think it's quite common democratic process, a way to do things when it's big changes you talk about. But yeah, I'm not an expert on that.
It is what it is. We'll stick to the current scoring system, 3 sets to 21.
You just need to get in better shape,
and we need to get in better shape,
and that's what you will get during the summer, right?
Right? Yeah, definitely. We are looking into 7-8 weeks of practice now before the next big thing, and it is a very big thing. It is the Olympics, which will be held in 8-9 weeks, right?
Yeah, I think badminton starts on July 24, something like that.
July 24.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, because I'm traveling on July 22nd, and if anyone watching that thinks, well, why are you traveling? It's simply because I'm going to be a commentator for Danish TV. So I will be...
so this is actually, I mean, good practice for you, you know, talking to the mic and...
Yeah, well, I feel pretty comfortable talking to the mic, especially in Danish, which the commentating job is going to be in. I've done it in Rio and in London as well.
So it's your third Olympic without playing a match.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, it is. But I'm excited for it anyway. But yeah, I know I'm traveling the 22nd, and I think you start on the 24th.
It's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you mentioned, I'm hopefully going to be in great shape. I had a meeting yesterday with Coach Kenneth Jonathan and my strength and conditioning coach, Styrkemas. Shout out to Styrkemas.
He's a legend.
Maybe we can, put his face right here just when I said Styrkemas.
That would be really amazing.
I think Oliver can get that done.
And then also maybe a small video of the best triple jump that he ever did. He used to be a triple jumper. And actually high level in Denmark.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I knew that. Okay, enough about Styrkemas. And we had this meeting, and the practice, the work we're going to do the next 7 weeks is going to be tough. That's just.
But you've already been working tough, right? In Marbella, the past. Marbella, past few weeks.
That's right. So.
Or was it only just for a show on Instagram? I'm sure everyone watching this will follow you on Instagram as well, and they've seen that you.
Hopefully. And hopefully they have followed the vlog as well.
Yeah, true. But you said you went on a training camp, but I'm still not convinced if it was a training camp or just a boys trip.
Boys trip, partying and drinking. No, let me explain. So we were supposed to play Malaysia and Singapore. But as some of you might know, they got postponed, right? We don't know the dates yet.
Yeah.
So they got postponed, and I was, sitting here in my apartment thinking, oh my God, I'm going to just stay here, practice for the next 3 months, a little bit more. And I need to do something. I need to do something else. I need to get away from the fishbowl. And I was planning this training camp, having a bit of fun combined with, working hard on my physical practice. Badminton was not really the main focus during the camp. So I was preparing this call to Kenneth Jonathan. I was going to pitch the idea that Kenneth, I need to get away for a little while. So Malaysia Open got cancelled, and he called me and he said, so Anders, the Malaysia Open is postponed. And then before I got to say anything, he goes, so now you just have to, get away immediately. Find somewhere with nice weather and get away, get a break from the everyday life here in Denmark. and then come back even more motivated and ready to work hard in the badminton hall again. So I gathered a group of guys. I called my friends and said, guys, we are going to Marbella and we are going to spend some time down there. It ended up being 16 days. And it was, perfect, everything that I needed. We worked quite hard down there. I was in the gym every day, doing either cardio or strength. And I also played badminton, I think four times during the 16 days we were down there. I got in contact with a club in a city called Benalmádena. I hope that I pronounced it right.
It sounded pretty awesome for me.
And they were super nice, and they helped us with the hall and the facilities, and they rolled out a court for us, and it was great. That was the training camp, and had a lot of fun.
So basically, you would say it was maybe a training camp to prepare for what's gonna go on in the next 6-7 weeks. So now you feel more ready to actually work even harder after you got back home.
Definitely. It was really good for my mental headspace. As mentioned, to get away from the fishbowl. I feel even more motivated now to work really hard for the next 7-8 weeks before we leave.
Actually, can I ask you, were you actually annoyed that Malaysia and Singapore got cancelled? Because obviously both you and me, we agree that it's not really been working the way we were hoping in 2021 with the tournaments. But you had already almost secured your seating as number 3 or 4 at the Olympics, right? So was it actually nice for you to not have to go and play those events, or would you still have preferred to go play?
I think I would have preferred to play. To be honest, I'm just, as we all are probably, quite annoyed with the situation. COVID is making it hard for all of us, and tournaments is being cancelled or postponed all the time, and it's very, very frustrating. I would have loved to play it. I would have loved to go to Malaysia again and Singapore. It's 2 countries that I really like. So I wasn't happy with the tournaments being cancelled. Of course, me ending as number 3 on the Olympic qualification is quite good. So that's a positive thing from the tournaments being cancelled, that the qualification period stopped there. I don't know. I would have loved to play. I love to play. I miss playing badminton. We do it. We don't do it often enough these times, and it's tough. So I wasn't happy with it, but they got some positive things from it as well. You are not going to play the Olympics.
No, I'm not.
So your next tournament is the Danish Championship, right?
Danish Nationals, yeah. Well, I would say I would have loved to go to Marbella as well. Marbella with you guys.
I'm sorry that I didn't invite you.
Yeah, go somewhere else even, but it's just not that easy with my
you have a
family,
child. You have a
family
child
situation. I have a child who's 3 years old. I also have a wife who's a dressage horse rider, and it's the most busy time of the year for her during summer, so we don't really go on summer holiday. So it's not that simple for me to just go away. But obviously, with the tournaments cancelled, it's a very long period I'm looking at home with training.
What have you been doing since we last saw each other? It's been 3 weeks. Have you just been?
Yeah, well, I
working?
actually also had a meeting with the legend Kenneth Jonassen.
Okay.
Not Styrkemas, just Kenneth. Because we needed to talk about how to handle this situation for me, because I don't have the Olympics to look forward to. So yeah, Danish Nationals is my next event, but without dissing that too much, it's not a huge goal for me. The next big thing is Thomas Cup in Denmark Open in October, so that's pretty far out in the future, and it's quite difficult to feel extremely motivated to training every single day when we're in June, thinking about something that's going to happen in October.
Yeah.
So he's given me the possibility to say that, like, if you don't feel like it, if you feel like you need a day off or 2 days off, I can do that. If I only want to be training on court for 1 hour instead of 1.5 or 2 hours, I can do that. So not be so strict and hard on myself, but focus more on keeping my body in shape, get stronger, and be prepared for then when we get closer to the big events for me, then I can start train harder again on court. So yeah, that's basically what I've done. I've still been training. I've still been working hard, but not as hard as I would if, for example, I was looking ahead to the Olympics or Indonesia Open or whatever is usually there this summer.
I think that's where Kenneth is a really, really good coach. I mean, that he understands the individual and their needs. In my case, for instance, I mean, I had a conversation with one of the other players the other day. I'm not going to mention his name, and he was like, how did you do that? Did you just call Kenneth and Kenneth, I'm leaving for... I mean, I would never do that. I'm almost afraid to do that. But I think if you are, honest with your coach, I mean, Kenneth is really good at understanding the individual's needs. That's just my point. I mean,
yeah, and I think it's a perfect example you give that he was actually the one that called you and said that you needed to go away. So he already knew before you even mentioned it to him that that's what you need.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think over the years that's what he's proven, that he understands each individual, and he is also able to actually get that out on court in practice, that you don't have to do things the same way as Victor. And Jan also did things in a completely different way. I do it in a different way. Of course, there are some similarities and some basic things that we need to do, but he's really able to adapt the daily life and the training to each person's individual status.
Definitely. And back to your situation. I think consistency is more important than I mean, if you have, how much is it? Is it 4 months till you are going to play again?
Yeah, well, we should. If we don't count the nationals, we don't know what's going to happen in September. There are some Asian events, but we just don't really count on those happening with how tournaments get cancelled all the time. So yeah, 3 or 4 months.
But imagine if you had like 3 or 4 months. I mean, with practice almost every day. I mean, you'll get in very, very good shape. So I mean, in your case, it's important that you don't get injury because you just, work your ass off here in the beginning. I mean, why? I mean, consistency is way more important in my opinion.
Consistency and maintaining a decent level, and then actually it's a pre-preparation for the preparation, right? Leading up to the big event. So I guess it's comparable to what you just did in Spain, actually.
Exactly. So when is you mentioned the Thomas Cup?
Yeah, it's in October.
Because I have to put it in my schedule.
Yeah, I think you have a pretty fair chance of being selected for the team.
Hopefully.
It's in October. We will play the Thomas Cup in, I think, in Aarhus, right, in Denmark. And then the week after Thomas Cup, we will move on to Odense and play the Denmark Open.
Okay.
So hopefully that will be a busy time for us.
Can you tell me why it's called Thomas Cup?
Yeah, I actually can.
Okay, I would like to know that.
You don't know?
I think that there's a lot of people. I mean, if I meet someone out on the street and say I'm going to Thomas Cup next week, Thomas Cup, what is that? It's just some minor tournament in somewhere in Denmark, or it's actually the World Championships for teams.
I think every badminton fan will know that it's the World Championships, right? But everyone who's not into badminton, they will not know at all. It's named after Sir Alan George Thomas, who was a legendary badminton player back in the days. I don't know exactly when he was one of the best players. I think it was in the 30s or 40s, so it's all the way back to when badminton really started at the highest level. Maybe it's even longer.
Before that.
Yeah, before that. So he won a lot of All Englands back when that was counted as the most prestigious event, more prestige than the World Championships, because the World Championships didn't start until 1977. So yeah, it's named after him simply. And Uber Cup for the women is named after a person called Betty Uber, who was also a legend back in those days.
Okay.
And Sudirman Cup is named after an Indonesian called, I think he was Dick Sudirman. I don't know his story quite as well, but also a legend in some way. So that's why it's called that. So that was a history lesson for today.
Very nice. And for those who don't know, Sudirman Cup is the mixed teams. So boys and girls all on the same team. And Thomas Cup is only men. Uber Cup is only women. So
and Thomas and Uber Cup is I guess it's fair to say it's still more prestigious than the Sudirman Cup, also because Thomas and Uber Cup has more years of history. It started back in the 40s, where I think Sudirman Cup only started in the late 80s or start 90s actually. So it hasn't been there for as many years.
Okay. Well, you learn something new every day.
You should.
Hans Kristian, this first episode, how long have we been?
Yeah, we've been on for 40-45 minutes, so we should probably also...
Skal jeg lige stop?
Nej, det går fint.
Okay.
Du har lige 3-4-5 minutter så til at lukke det af, tænker
Okay, yeah. We were just, talking in Danish for... Sorry about that.
Yeah, so we've been on for 40-45 minutes, so I think it's probably a good time to round off this first episode of the Badminton Experience.
I think it's gone
talking
well,
badminton,
right?
Whatever we want to call it. But yeah, I think it's going pretty well.
I
haven't been bored yet.
No,
that's a good sign.
I'm also quite happy with it. Oliver just texted me here. He says, "Is everything going all right?"
Yeah, we should have had him on.
Yeah.
On FaceTime actually, so who could be.
He could have been right here.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah. It's not how it should be done. I mean, we shouldn't, control the camera and control the sound and all that stuff.
That's not our expertise.
No, it's not. Definitely not. It's his job. Okay, so there is so much to talk about in the future. I feel that this is going to be a great podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
I have high expectations.
I'm excited.
And
I don't look excited, but that's just my poker face.
Yeah. It's what you're good at. Do we know how often we're going to release an episode?
I don't think we really do we? Because it also depends on how
if I suddenly go to Spain for 3 weeks.
You never know, but obviously we want to do it not with too long of an interval between them, but of course this summer there's not a lot of things going on, but on a normal schedule there would always be tournaments and things to talk about, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, I suppose.
That's a great idea. So thank you guys for watching this first episode of whatever we're going to call it. As mentioned in the beginning, please write your suggestions for the name in the comment section. So far, the Badminton Experience is the one we go with, but it can still be changed. So let us know what you think about this new format. Let us know what you think about Hans Kristian and myself and
Oliver as well, if you know him.
And Oliver, you probably don't know him. You'll see him more often in the vlogs, perhaps. And the podcast will be released here on my YouTube channel, Anders. I'm getting so used to people calling me Anders, but my name is actually Anders Antonsen, and the podcast will be released here, and
we're also actually gonna try and release it as a audio podcast as well, right? So if you don't want to watch video, then Oliver will handle all the technical stuff, so it can also be listened to in a podcast player.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
Amazing. Amazing.
So thanks guys. If there's anything you want us to give our view on, let us know in the comment section. Topics, it could be whatever's going on in the sport at the moment. At the moment there's not much going on in the sport. It could be different players, stuff like we've talked about today with the rules might being changed, It didn't. So whatever you want us to talk about, let us know in the comment section. With that being said, thank you very much for watching this first episode, and see you next time. Peace out.